Alright, y'alls. I'm going to be talking about citations in this video. I might start rambling, and if I do, I'm sorry, but I'll try to keep it short. So, citations, right here. What are citations? To keep it simple, we have citations in our paper because we want to give credit where credit is due. What I mean by that is that not all the information that you provide on your paper comes from you. It comes from other people, right? You aren't the original source. You aren't the person who came up with that information. And so whenever you are paraphrasing someone's idea or you're quoting directly from a text, you need to provide a citation so that the reader can go back to that original source if they choose to do so. All right, and so I'm going to show you two different types of citations, or the citations that we need to have in a paper. The first one is an in-text citation. It's when we give credit within our writing, and we also need to have a works cited page where we have all the information necessary for the reader to follow that source and go back to it. And I will show you an example of how that works in this video, okay? So I'm going to be using this example paper. It's not on the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. It's not on educational freedom. It's actually on the N-word. And we're going to be looking at this first body paragraph of this writer, particularly at the two of the pieces of evidence that the writer uses. And we're going to be looking at how this person cites her sources. So I highlighted it here. This is one source, and this is another source. Okay, taking a look at this first one, the piece of evidence, the direct quote, is right here. No degree of appropriating can rid the N-word of that blood-soaked history. That is the original source. It's the exact words coming from the article, Straight Talk About the N-word. Notice how the writer includes the title of the text, where she got the information. The writer also includes the person who said it, and the person who said it is Neil A. Lester. So again, the title, where the evidence came from, and the person who said it. All right, those are the two things that you need inside an in-text citation. One more time, the title and the person who says it. When you write your paper, or now that you're revising your paper, you need to make sure the title of the work, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, as well as the author, Frederick Douglass, that those two elements are included inside your paper, okay, within the essay. Another way to have an in-text citation is right here. So the writer of this paper also cites her sources a different way. So she starts off this source, this citation, by citing the article, okay, the N-word, N-word, the word, A Brief History, right? Just like she did up here. But what she does not include are the names of the author, the people who wrote this piece. And right, you can't see it here. You do see the evidence. There's one. Here's another. Okay, you see the evidence. You see the direct quote, but you don't see the name of the authors. And the reason why is because the writer has actually put the author's name at the end in parentheses. So that is one option that you can take in order to cite your sources. Okay, so just like up here where you have the name of the text and the person who said it, you also have the name of the text and the people, in this case people, not person. You have the people who said it in parentheses. Some things to note. The period in this type of in-text citation goes at the end instead of before the quotation mark, right? Whereas here, in this piece of evidence, the source, the period actually goes inside the quotation mark. It comes before the quotation mark. Those are just some nuances that you need to pay attention to when you're making an in-text citation. I hope that made sense for you. So just to summarize, you need to have the title of the work and the name of the author, the person who said it, within each source that you cite. Each time you use a piece of evidence, you need to have that, those two things. All right? And as a reader, if I wanted to learn more about this article and I wanted to know more about this source and where it came from, I can look at the name of the authors. These are their last names. And I can scroll to the Works Cited page to find out where I can read more about this quote. So basically, I scroll to the Works Cited page, and the Works Cited page is at the end of an essay or a written piece. And as you can see here, I see the name Middleton, and I see the name Pilgrim. So, and I see the name of the article. And if I look at this source, this is one source right here. And I can identify it as one source because of the this space. Okay. Anyway, so this is one source. And I see the link to that original source. And what I can do as a reader is I can take that source and type it into the web page and look at that. It takes me to the original piece where I can find out more information if I wanted to. Right? So that is the purpose of an in-text citation and a works cited page. It's so that the reader can go back to the original source if he or she wishes to do so. All right. So taking a look at the works cited page, notice how it's in alphabetical order, and it starts by the person's last name, right? And we have B, L, M, and N. Some other things to note, like I said earlier, you can tell that there are 4 sources because there are spaces whenever one source goes to the next line. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. Another thing to note, the works cited, the title, it's not bolded like that. It's not underlined. There's nothing special about it. The only thing that's special about it is that it's centered, right? The center align button. There's also no spaces in between all of this because it's already double space. You don't need to have, a big space between all of that, because again, you can identify it with the spaces right here. Okay? Hopefully that made sense to you. If you're still confused, please talk to some classmates, ask your questions. If you didn't get answers from your classmates, please talk to me. I'm more than happy to help. All right. What we're going to do now, we're actually going to make a works cited page ourselves. All right. It's actually going to end up looking like this, but I want to start from the beginning. So, a works cited page. Actually, let's see if I'm going backwards. Oh, here we go. All right, please excuse me as I go backwards because I did this a few times. All right. Just so that you're not confused, please pretend that you didn't just see all of that. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a works cited page, and I already have the title in the middle, but I'm going to delete it so we could do it again as a whole together. All right. So you want to start off by making sure you have a centered page, right? And you're typing in works cited. Even if you only have one source, you should still put down works cited as opposed to works cited. And you can just bring it back, right? The left align button. So if you are using the online version, you're going to need to use this format right here. If you wrote if you're using the hard copy, the physical copy from the classroom, then you're going to be using this version right here. And I'm going to show you how to do both. So we're going to do the online version first. If you don't have the online version, then you could just skip, like a minute or something from this video. All right? Okay. So anyway, you start off by putting the author's last name. Our author is Douglas. His first name is Frederick. Notice that there's a comma between that, okay? And we put a period at the end. The title of the book is The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. And I noticed that I italicized. So with books, you want to italicize, okay? This is the italicize button. We don't have an edition, but we do have a publisher, or at least what I believe is the publisher, Elegant eBooks. I couldn't find the online publication date, so I'm just going to put the original date, which is 1845. And the name of the website or the database is the online books page. All right, and the URL. The URL is up here. Okay, you just copy it and paste, and there you go. And don't forget that period at the end. So there's my period. Okay. Now you can't see this, but I'm going to press the tab button, right? That's the button to indent your paper. When I press the tab button on the second line, because I want to have that space, right? When I press that tab button, that's what happens. Okay, so what's important, follow these directions very carefully. First off, I'm going to put delete. Alright, so on the second line, alright, I'm going to put my mouse on the second line. I'm going to press enter, which is on the right side of your keyboard. And then I'm going to press the tab button, the indent button. Okay, so again, enter and then the indent button. I also want to make sure that I fit as much of this link up here as possible. I want to fill in this blank space. So maybe that will work, actually. Oh, no. I'm going to start there. Perfect. Actually, take that back. Right there. All right, and we want to remove the link. So it should look something like this. All right. Let's say you are doing the hard physical copy. All right, we're going to follow this format right here. Okay. So we're starting off with the author's last name. Once again, it's Douglas. First name, Frederick. And then you are going to type in the title of the book, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. Okay. There is no edition, or at least none that I know of. The publisher is Penguin Classics. And the year of publication for the book is 1986. Period. And that's all you need. I'm going to delete this right here.